Mark, did you always want to be an actor? I didn't want to be anything for a long time. When I was a sophomore at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor, I went over to audition for a play because my roommate was doing it. He said, "Come on, it's a good way to meet girls." And I was starting to spend too much time in bars, and I thought it would keep me out of bars. I actually didn't realize it was just another way into the bars. And I got cast in 13 different roles in 3 parts of Henry VI, changing costumes and makeup all the time, and that was it. Also, I come from a family of 16 generations of engineers or librarians or teachers. Somewhat stoic, unemotional, controlled people. And the theater was the first place where I'd seen people be furious with each other and 10 minutes later be weeping with love and emotion. It was great. I didn't really decide to do it professionally until I graduated in '68 and I became eligible for the draft. Eventually, I took the physical and I got a 4F because I was kind of crazy. A lot of drugs. I was heading back to Oregon, and I stopped into Ann Arbor to see some friends. And a man who'd been my teacher, Jim Coakley, now a teacher at Northwestern, he talked me into doing a couple of plays for him there and trying to make a living. And that was when I decided to do it as a serious profession. That meant going to auditions. I went to TCG, that's the Theater Communications Group. Auditions for regional theaters in Chicago, where about 100 actors a day for 4 days in a row come and do their standard auditions. 2.5 minutes of classical, 2.5 minutes of contemporary. You do your Harold Pinter, you do your Shakespeare. And out of that, I got a full season at Milwaukee Rep. It's my first paying job. It still sometimes occurs to me, especially in the winter when I have a cold and I'm depressed, that this is just something I've been doing for 14 or 15 years and not anything that I intended to do. There are much more sensible ways to spend your life than sitting around waiting for phone calls, putting up with massive egos, your own included, and trying to understand your life in terms of other people's perceptions of you, which is really what ends up happening. I gotta tell you, there are still hours during the day when I think that maybe I'll just go to UC Davis and study marine biology. Yeah, I tell you, I really, I feel you on that, what you're saying, because for many years I pursued acting. That was that was my main pursuit. I had been in broadcasting, and, broadcasting was something else I loved to do, but, pursuing acting, and sometimes you get just so fed up with the things that go on in that business. Anyway, so were you, as far as being an actor, were you good immediately? I was taken to be good because I had a naturally good voice, moved well, looked okay, and had a brain that functioned well in relation to literature. Also, there was nothing riding on it. I didn't want a career in the theater. I was a hippie. All I wanted to do was have a good time. Sometime after I was 30, I realized that it was a little late to apply to UC Davis and get a degree in marine biology. I had to admit that I'd probably be bored to death being a marine biologist. And to think that the experience of standing up to my waist in a tide pool looking at sea anemone would be closer to God than playing Oberon on the Lower East Side was just crazy. It was just a way to undermine myself. I was an adult, and I had to start trying to make a living. And there were many different ways that I have tried to make a living while also pursuing acting. Yeah, if I could interject here, Mark, this is really important. I want to bring this up because actors, there are many actors that try to find a device, a tool to break into the business. And this is one way of doing it. One of Mark's ploys to make a living was to become a movie producer. And he's not alone in this. A lot of actors do this. They get into screenwriting, they get into directing, filmmaking, and this is an example of that. So this is a good idea for all you kids out there listening. You want to use a tool to break into the business. This is the way to do it. This is what we're talking about. So one of Mark's ploys to make a living was to become a movie producer. And with Griffin Dunn and Amy Robinson, he formed a company called Triple Play Productions, which produced Joe Micklin's Silver's Chilly Scenes of Winter and also John Sayles' Baby It's You. Now, just as the latter was going into production, though, Metcalf bowed out. Yeah, producing was a very hard thing to do. It was salesmanship. You have to be an adult to produce. When I decided I didn't want to produce anymore, I consciously decided I didn't want to be an adult that consistently. I wanted to be a kid some more. You do get to experience that childlike part of yourself in the theater. You're required to. You're requested to. At the same time, you're treated like a child when you're an adult. There's this mythology of the actor being a child, the producer and the director being adults. And the role-playing that goes on should stop so actors won't cushion themselves thinking, oh, I'm just a child. What do your parents think about you being an actor? Oh, they didn't like it at all when I first started. But the first play that I got any recognition for was The Tooth of Crime, the Sam Shepard play at Princeton, which got a big review in Time magazine with my name and my picture. When that happened, they decided it was a good thing. When I produced Chilly Scenes of Winter, that was the best thing I'd done so far. Really, it was the best thing I'd done as far as they were concerned. To be behind the desk, to be the adult, the guy who signs the checks for all that money, they liked that. They haven't been quite able to understand why I don't want to do it. I just finished doing about 6 weeks on a soap opera, One Life to Live. And they really like that because they can turn it on and see me. They've never understood why I turned down commercials, why I turned down soap operas for 14 years. I used to think it was because they didn't understand the artist, but really, they'd like me to do those things because then they could visit me more often. They'd never turn on MTV if you paid them, but when I did the Twisted Sister video, they watched for days on end hoping to see it. What would you say is the best thing about being an actor? Those moments when you have absolute freedom to make up the truth out of airy nothing. It's like Baryshnikov when he leaps and doesn't come down. He goes up, and he should come down, and he doesn't. It looks like he reaches the apex and then just lifts himself up a little bit more. Those moments, they happen for an actor too. And when you're up there and you can just think and go higher. Yeah, and what would you say would be the silliest thing about being an actor? Having to do it again and again and again until you die. You should be up there and you should never come down. But you come down, so you have to do it again. I really like the way you put that. That's great. Well, Mark, unfortunately, we are out of time. Thanks for being here, Mark. No problem, DJ. I enjoyed being here. I enjoyed talking with you. All right, all you actors out there and all you just generally creative, artistic people, hope you've enjoyed this. I'll be with you again soon with another actor or casting director, so stay tuned for that. Until then, this is DJ McClanahan signing off and saying to you, as always, keep your dreams alive.